Hey everybody.
All right.
How you guys doing? Hey everybody. Welcome to Huddle Time. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I had the best day today. I don't know about you, but I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I exercised. Yes, I did. I promised. Here's the thing. I'm going to put it out there. By May 31st, not only that I'm going to be losing 20 pounds, okay, I'm also going to be losing 3 inches. And I'm going to share with you how I'm going to do it. I have this amazing self-diet, although we're going to talk about diets today like nothing else with my friend here. And we're going to be really talking about, actually, you know what? We're going to talk about a lot of things. So if you're joining me at Huddle Time with Ronit, is every week at Monday 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6 o'clock your time in Chicago. We are here to serve you. We are here to just give you the best show ever. Now, this is not just a show because we're sharing with you best secrets, tips from many experts in the industry, outside the industry, how you can excel today, how you can thrive today, what you can do in your business, in your salon, in your spa, whatever you do as a stylist, how can you really create the career that you want to create? So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Ronit Enos, and I am the host of Huddle Time with Ronit. And together with my partners and friends, American's Beauty Show, we bring to you all of that every Monday. So today we have a really extraordinary guest, a beautiful guest, and we shared together the stage on Beauty Brunch, as you remember. My friend, DJ Dawn. Now, DJ Dawn is not just DJ Dawn, okay? We're going to talk about that name too. But more than anything, she's extraordinary. She's an author of 2 books, okay? She wrote The Flexitarian Diet, which is ranked top plant-based diet in the U.S. News World. U.S. News and World Report. And her newest book is The Superfood Swap. Can't wait to dig into Superfood Swap. Now, she is a nutritionist and a certified specialist in the sports dietetics, which I can't wait to dive into it. But she is a professional super jump. We were just talking about that, right? Well, listen, guys, there's just so much to talk about, DJ, and I can't wait to dive into it. Welcome, DJ.
Well, Ronit, I am so excited to be on Huddle Time. I know that you are a superstar. And when you asked me, I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to be on Huddle Time because I know you at the heart of everything. You really are a service person. You give. The information that just flows out of you is amazing. So it's my pleasure to be on Huddle Time. And let's take the name. I'd like to officially tell you my name story, okay?
Let's start with that, yes.
The full name here is Dawn Jackson Blatner. And I wanted people to address me in all 3 names. So no shortcuts. You couldn't do any shortcuts. It's always Dawn Jackson Blatner. So my girlfriends would write me birthday cards, Dawn Jackson Blatner, everything Dawn Jackson Blatner, okay? And a lot of them will do Dawn Jackson Blatner, registered dietitian nutritionist.
Dawn Jackson Blatner. Dawn Jackson Blatner, okay.
Yes, so that all 3 names. And then I started getting a little bit more fun in my life. Like I saw a life coach who really is a business coach, life coach person, because I was so serious about outcomes. Like I need to write this many books. I need to be on this many Good Morning Americas. I need to be on this many TV shows. I need to have this many magazines. I was just very goal oriented, and it served me well for most of my life until I burned the frickin' out of myself. Like I burned out. And so I hired somebody to help me with getting more joy in my job. And so it started trickling everywhere. I started having more fun and joy. And then I was like, hey, guess what? Maybe I can loosen up on the name a little bit instead of making people say Dawn Jackson Blatner. That, hey, you know what? Why don't you call me DJ Blatner? So instead of Dawn Jackson, I'm shortened to DJ. So it's DJ Blatner, except for this is a great name. I love it. Except for the fact that everybody thinks I'm a disc jockey. They think that I'm going to play them songs.
I was actually going in the beginning when they asked you to host with us at Beauty Brunch. I'm thinking, DJ, whoa, I gotta talk to her about this. Maybe she can flip some this there.
Oh,
You know.
God. Well, I will say I do love anything pop music. I'm a real pop music fanatic. And so whenever I'm doing my jump rope, which started off as just great pandemic exercise because my gym was closed and I was afraid to run in the big city, I was just jumping rope pandemic style and listening to great music. And it ended up being one of the best things that ever happened in my life because it's such a joyful, silly, playful, but also challenging experience.
So you started jump roping because of the pandemic. That's so funny because so did I. I just literally, when we got into the roadmap in the road trip with the Airstream, I couldn't take any exercise stuff with us. I wasn't motivated to run because there's not much, we did a lot of hikes, as you know, in Arizona. That's all you do. But I took with me a rope. And I said to myself, that's what I'm going to do. So everywhere we stopped, and every station we stopped, that's all I did. I jump and I jump.
This is my jump rope bag that I traveled with because I'm not at home right now. So I'm traveling. This is my jump rope bag. In my jump rope bag are 3 of my favorite jump ropes. So I have a yellow one that is more of like my fitness speed rope. Okay, so I have that one. So that's like that. I have my beaded.
Oh wait! Can I have that? That matches my shirt. Can I have the yellow? Let me grab it.
The yellow. I will tell you that yellow one is it's my sweetheart. But I have broken so many ropes because I've jumped through them. They've split because I've jumped so much with them. This is my soft beaded, and then I have one more that's a hard beaded. And this is where I do all my tricks, like where I throw it out and catch it and do all sorts of tricks. This is my trick rope. So anyway, I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist with a real love of jump rope. And I think sort of the reason why I love it is why I do nutrition too, is that I really love to feel good. I have a very low threshold of feeling bad. I don't let my mind take me to places too long that make me feel bad. If my body doesn't feel good, I can't show up bright. I can't show up like a light. I love to, like you, be of service, and I can be only of service when I'm feeling $1,000,000. And so that's why I'm obsessed with nutrition and I'm obsessed with jump rope, is because they both make me feel so good.
Amazing. Well, I can't argue with that. Every time that I get into my head, and I usually think, I don't know, I measured my last time getting into my head, and that lasted about good 3 days, literally 3 days. And then the minute I exercise or the minute I do something good for me, I snap out of it really quick. So how DJ starts in the nutrition's world?
Oh, I like that. The origin story of this.
Yeah.
So I was in college and I saw the best advice on a television show. They said, do for a career what you do in your spare time. And so I took an inventory in college, what I was doing in my spare time. I would hang out at the health food store. I would buy a bunch of health food. My roommates would go out to bars and I would cook all this vegetarian food, and they would come home and I would feed it to them. And they always loved it because they were like, a little tipsy. So I really loved health food stores, and I loved the idea of it's sort of to me like witchcraft, right? Mm-hmm. In a very positive way, where I could put something inside of my human body and it becomes my blood, and it washes over all my cells, and it changes my mood, it changes my skin, it changes my hair, it changes my attitude, it changes my risk of disease, it changes energy, like how I sleep, like everything. So to me, it's just the most magical thing that you could do is changing what you put inside of your human body, how you eat.
Yeah, and I love that. I want to talk about that. You decided to grow a career that is based on your hobby, almost like what was in the beginning your hobby. It's funny because I have heard somewhere before, I think it was one of the podcasts that I listened to with Tim Ferriss, or actually the 4 Hours Work Week. That's the book. And what he said is like, how you find out what you love doing is if you look at your credit card statements and see where you're spending your money. Yeah.
That's great, because that's naturally what you love, because you spend your hard-earned cash on it.
Yes. And I know. Isn't that true? And now you know, if you're the kind of a person who loves to buy education and do classes and master classes, you know, you might want to think about doing that. So I think that's really a great way to evaluate what you should go into. So you go into you educate yourself. Have you always been a vegetarian? Have you always had plant-based diet, or is it something that you just, you know, moved into?
I totally moved into it. And here's how it all sort of went down. Why I was always in the health food store. So, you know, the idea of like, ask yourself so many whys, like why, and you start getting to more of the heartbeat. So I understood that I became interested in nutrition as a career because I was always spending time in the health food store, and it was like a magic witchcraft. And I thought that was cool. But the next step of that, really, if I dig deeper, or like vulnerably or whatever, I felt sick. I was ill. I had horrible pooping problems. I was like, it was just I always felt sick. I would go to a class just trying to find the bathroom and so that I could sneak out. Like my whole life was ruined really over eating. And then I tried to change how I ate based on like whatever everybody was doing in the 80s, which was low fat. So I was like, I need to feel better. I am going to change to low fat because that's what everybody was doing at the time. And I got so malnourished that my foot broke in my rollerblade that I was like, I have got to figure out how to eat. So I would spend all the time in the health food store because I felt disgustingly ill. And so I changed my food. I was like, oh my gosh, this is magic. So then I became interested in a career to like share with people like the magic of changing what you eat, you know, so that your foot doesn't break in your skate and that you don't have, you know, digestive problems that you can't even go on dates with, you know, so anyway, I love that aspect of things is like, it's, you know, that changing how you feel, but like most of, I think people get into it because they're feeling so lousy to begin with.
Now, people don't really know that they feel so lousy because they're just so used to feel so lousy. And so, but you were very intuitive to how you were feeling. And what made you think that was all about food and what we put inside? What made you think like, I feel, you said you feel disgusted, you feel ill. Well, what kind of feelings did you feel? You know, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes, I can. I would poop in my own pants. That's what would happen all the time.
Okay.
I felt so sick.
That. Yes, I get that. Yeah.
Thank you. You know, if you ask for the details, Mom will gonna give you the details. Mom will gonna give. I mean, that's how sick I felt. Like I just was always like, I just felt sick. And I don't know. I think you're right. I think it was something about intuition. It was like, I had a boyfriend at the time who took me to this health food store. I'd never been in a health food store before. And like just the people and the vibe and the lifestyle and just like everything hit me of like sort of that voice, like you said, was like, there's something here, like play here, experiment here. And so, you know, I think it really was like an intuitive hit, to be honest. Yeah. Plus, you know, listening a little bit to the signs of, you know, being open, that my boyfriend dragged me there at the time. And I went in, you know what I mean? It's like being open to testing. That's a huge moral of many things in my life. I won a reality show on primetime television. And really, I went into that pretty nervous, but with the intention of being of service, right? You never can go wrong if your intention is of being of service. And just like, let's test it, you know, let's just test it and see. Open-minded.
Yeah. And you know, and the funny thing is you got such a great vibe about you, such a great energy. Did you notice that when you were eating like shit, obviously, literally when you were eating like shit, did you feel like you were tired or exhausted? Did you lose the energy, unmotivated? You know, listen, you're an expert when it comes to nutrition. You know, I feel like there's so many of us are walking like the walking dead. Okay. They don't even know. And we don't even know when we don't feel great. Can you speak to that? Can you just, you know, what happens when we eat not right? And we're not even digging into what we should or shouldn't be eating, but in generally.
Oh yeah, I think you're exactly right. That people sort of chalk it up to, I have a stressful job, I had a long day, my sleep wasn't so good. This is just how you feel when you age. Like they blame it on all of these external things. And what I say is like, don't believe anything I say. You shouldn't. You should test it for yourself. Like literally, if you have a fruit and veggie rich smoothie in the morning, like do you feel better than when you have nothing for breakfast or when you have grab a bar? It's like, oh my gosh, I do feel better. What happens instead of totally not eating lunch or eating a bunch of garbage snacky things in between all clients? What happens if you actually gave yourself 12 full minutes to eat a lunch like that is balanced? Like what would happen? And oh my gosh, this is working. And so, don't ever do something to do it. Like do it and test it, and then you become bitten by the bug. Like, when people say like, oh, don't you want this candy? It's like, kind of, but like,
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to feel like eating that. So I don't want to do it because I've tested it. I've tested candy in the middle of the day and I feel like garbage. And so that's where you start. It's like, you don't even believe people that say, oh, you're tired and you need to change your food. Change your food and seeing is
How
believing,
you feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your the flexitarian diet, that's actually your own Wikipedia word, right? You are recognized in Wikipedia as the one person, or the only person who came up with the word flexitarian, and I am familiar with that. So I'm so excited that I know DJ who invented the word flexitarian. I mean, seriously, the flexitarian diet. Let's talk about that. What is the flexitarian diet?
Okay, so anytime you have a book, it's a labor of love. This is my first baby. I'm a stepmother, but this is my first biological baby right here.
Very difficult. I can't wait to talk about that, but love to know what's a flexitarian diet.
Okay, so flexitarian is the combination of two words, flexible plus vegetarian. And it came about because I was a vegetarian, because I had read all this research through my education about how plants protect people. A plant-based diet is so good for you. So I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to be vegetarian. And then what would happen is I would travel outside of the US and I would like eat meat as part of a different cultural experience. It would be Thanksgiving. I would eat turkey with my family. My grandpa would make me like little pork sausages with love and I would eat them. So I just kept thinking I was a horrible vegetarian. I'm the worst vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian most of the time, but I'm sneaking all the Cubs game in Chicago, which I did Cubs nutrition as their nutritionist for years. But I would do all these like, bad vegetarian things. And then it was like, wait a second. What if I'm not a bad vegetarian? What if all I am flexible vegetarian? Then I was like, yes, that's what I am. I'm flexible. And that's how everyone should be. No one should have to follow super strict rules if they want health benefits. What if you are vegetarian with, your intent is to eat more plants, but you're not totally strict about it? Can you still get benefit? And research shows you can, in fact, get benefit by eating plants much of the time, but still having, meats and animal foods and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, that's how it was born. It was born out of me needing to prove that I'm not a bad vegetarian, that I'm just a flexible vegetarian.
I love that. And, it just makes you feel not guilty if you did want to have a piece of steak or something every once in a while. Now, so what's the deal about, this whole different diets in this world, and thank you for explaining that, because, there's vegan, there's semi-vegan, there's flexitarian, there's plant-based, there's vegetarian, there's keto, there's paleo. I mean, come on. I'm just like, can we simplify and make it flexible? And what are the rules that we should do to just get healthier?
Okay, I'll tell you, this is the most serious be in your show. This the most topic exists right now is information overload, all the different diets and gurus and doctors and nutritionists. There are so many, and many of them are opposite of each other, but there's good research of like this one working and this one working, the opposite diet. So let me give you an example. A vegan diet where you eat no animal food versus a paleo diet where you eat like all animal food. Well, there's people who are healthy doing both. There's research on both being good. So how could it grow meat? How could it be that totally opposite diets both work? And here's the problem. Everybody starts looking at how they're different. But the truth is, the universe of everything is that you need to look at how are all of these diets the same? And there's one way that they're the same. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Okay. They all have very little to no processed food. They all encourage you to eat real food. So why all of these diets that are opposite all seem to work? It's diets that work are focused on real food.
Yes.
Real food. And that means, you're looking at labels, and people say to me a lot, like, and so that's actually where my second book came in, is people say, okay, I know I'm supposed to eat minimally processed food, real food. Nobody actually knows what that means. People throw that around and they say, oh, well, I don't eat processed food. People have no idea what processed food is or isn't. Like, it is processed food, lettuce that's already been washed and in a container processed food? Are beans in a can processed food? Are vegetables processed food? Is high fiber processed food? What is a processed food? This is the swap. This one came about because of this word right here, Ronit. Can you see this word here?
Yeah, it's a little blurry, but here is.
Oh, it is.
Bring it
Crap.
closer. Crap. Yes, and crap. Perfect. Yeah, love the crap. Love the crap.
Okay, so that is an acronym.
These words, I can see you love everything about crap, shit. Yeah. So
exactly, you see the trend, but the crap is an acronym to help people figure out what is a processed food or not. So if you want that answer, we can talk about that later. But that's how you figure out if a food is processed or not, is using the acronym CRAP.
Okay, so why don't we talk about that? What do you mean by that? Okay, yes. How can I figure out what's processed and what's not processed? And by the way, I think a lot of us probably maybe want to know that what's so wrong about hot fudge sundae from McDonald's.
Let's take it two ways. Okay, so let's talk about, like, when we say processed foods, how do you figure out what one is? And then let's talk about what happens in your body and why it is hard on your body. It makes you feel like crap. The first step is to a food is processed or not, is you have the food label, but you cannot look at all the stupid numbers on a label, right? So everybody goes right away to calories or sodium or fat or whatever. They look at all these things. Do not go there first. 100% always to the ingredient list first. And you're trying to avoid crap, C-R-A-P. You're trying to avoid C-R-A-P. And that's for C is chemicals that you don't recognize, right? R is refined sugar and flour. That's the stuff, okay? So if you have wheat bread, that's garbage, because wheat means, if you have something like whole grain, where it says the word, okay, fine. So R is refined sugar and flour, white stuff. How do you spell? A is the next. Artificial. If you see anything artificial, color, flavor, sweetener, okay? P is preservatives. So if you see chemicals, refined sugar, flour, artificial stuff, preservatives, the CRAP, that's no. However, here's the thing. Does that mean you have to be perfect? No. So, if your food has one of the CRAP in there, okay, fine. But what I'm saying is, if you start seeing multiple CRAP in that ingredient list, you're like, ding, 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 red flag. This is probably a highly processed food, and I can do better. It's not like I'm trying to do scare tactics or anything. I'm just saying, if you see a lot of crap ingredients in the ingredient list, you can do better. There's better for you items in the store.
Yeah. Well, I feel like just because we've been in a pandemic and the restaurants are not open, you're probably becoming healthier because you are forced to cook more. You're forced to do more things. And so I watch your Instagram regularly. I love seeing what you're cooking. I crave, on a normal basis, I crave chocolate. And I love your alternative to sweets and what you do with them, and I love the fact that you don't use any crap in it, because now it's healthy, it's sweet, and it's just doesn't make you tired. Because I feel like if you're eating the wrong things for your body, and of course if you're putting any kind of process or sugars, you're really living in a fog that you don't even know you're in until you detox it out of your system.
It's true. And much of that has to do with like what the food does in your body. And so like if you have a processed food that has a lot of sugar and like white flour in it, right away you feel energy from it. You feel like, ooh, a good quick energy. And then you feel an immediate crash, not to where you started, but lower. So you get a high and you get a low. And so that's the problem, is that it takes you on this roller coaster where you're high, but then you get lower, high, and then you get even low. So the problem is that it's a vicious are having a hard time getting out of, because they feel so tired that they go to the processed food to give them a raise, but the raise doesn't last long. And so to get out of the cycle, it really is all about just slowly trying to clear usual things that you grab into better for you options. And, you know, again, testing it. It's not believing people this stuff. It's like, you know what would happen is if I had celery and almond butter snack instead of whatever kind of bar I just bought that has high fiber, gluten-free on it. It's like high fiber and gluten-free. What is it made out of? It's probably not even made out of food. And so like eat celery and an almond, but don't believe me for yourself.
Yeah. Now, so it's very difficult in the lifestyle that we have, even in times of pandemics and times when we, stay at home. But for us, the stylist, and for us, the high achiever, the one who works nonstop. I mean, I will tell you today, I probably spend 6 hours just of my time on Zoom. Okay. I actually developed a Zoom cough today, So yeah, we train and we coach every day of the week, and we've always been on Zoom, right? And now it's amplified. So for the people who work behind the computer and they sit a lot, we sit a lot, even when, what can we do to avoid that? Or what can we do to better our bodies? And so we can have a very creative mind, because I feel like right now, we're missing creativity. We really do. And so
well, you're right.
Sorry, there was a little delay there.
Okay, you're right. Creativity is where you're acting at the highest level of an energy vibe, right? So if you're creative, you had to do so many different steps to get to that high level of energy, like really water, regular meals, and joy. Put all that stuff in. If you're going to expect creativity to pop out of your head and you're not putting in all that base work, it's not going to happen. So you are struggling, you feeling in a rut, you feel like you don't have creativity. You've got to start at the base. You've got to fuel your human body with all of those things, right? And it's not really all those things. It's like what we would even do for a dog. Like we would give them a bedtime. We would feed them 3 meals, or, feed them on time. We'd give them water. We'd give them walks. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we care for our animals better than we care for our own human body, which is such a glorious thing.
So
and
true.
So a lot of, what I really believe, I am a spirit inside a human body. I was given to take, and I would take care of my car, or I would clean out, I wouldn't leave dishes in my sink or whatever. I try and remember I am the caretaker in here. And so when I put food in here, I realize it, fueling my cells with like little jittery energy, and they start being happy because I've been a good mommy to my cells. And so, you're so right that to be creative, you have to have that foundation of all of these things. You don't have to do them all perfect. You have to, in order to break a rut, you have to be with self-care, self-love. And it's really one of those things where I all begin a proper calendar. Literally, I would not have the boundaries, and I would not have lunchtime. I would not have anything if I didn't have a discipline of my calendar, right? And discipline of my calendar means there's schedule of exercise, there's schedule of joy, there's schedule of when work is over, that I'm not going to fit in a last client. Like I just had this situation happen. I mean, it is a client I want the money, I want everything about it, but I did not put it in that Friday slot that I knew would make me feel bitter later, that I knew there's about you don't mind ruining your future self, right? So you're like, on Friday, it won't be so bad. I'll put it won't be so bad. But don't be such a jerk to your future. like respect your in your calendar. So I really believe a lot of it starts with, a proper calendar and not jamming things in. Like if you think only take 10 minutes to get in, give yourself 30. Like not everything has to be a rush and a freaking, hustle, because you also can't show up for clients if you're burned out. You can't show up for clients if your mind is thinking about what you just did and you just popped to the other Zoom and you didn't give transition time. That's not fair to that next person.
No. You have to realize that, as a matter of fact, there's 156 hours in a day, right? And if you sleep 7 hours, you start already with a great way. So you sleep 7 hours, right? Now, let's say you work 8 hours of a day. Anybody who works more than 8 hours, there's something wrong. You should not be working more than 8 hours, unless, of course, if you're workaholic, just like me. But listen, I love working 9 hours, but really seriously, the human body, if it wants to be on the creative side, wants to be on the genius side, needs to work, 8 hours. Now you're looking into, you sleep 7, you have 8. What do you do with the rest of the hours, right? Why don't you spend at least 2 hours on preparing your meal a day? Or 3 times a week, and like you said, put it in the calendar. Just design a week that is so good for you. 2 hours for grocery shopping, 2 hours for meal preparation. All of that is so important, because if we do that for ourselves, I think that's step 1 of self-care. Do you agree?
Oh, it is. It is. And the step of I'll have clients who we really work on that, designing your ideal day. Like if you were the happiest, healthiest stylist, you were the happiest, healthiest, what would your ideal day look like? And we'll I'd go to bed at 11:30 at night, wake up at 7:30 in the morning. At 8 o'clock, I'd have had my coffee, I would be on my Peloton. Then I would have clients from this time to this time. We plot perfect day, and then we do everything in our power to have that perfect. And if all your goal is rest of your life is to have a great day, you will lead a great life, because that's what makes a great life, is having a great today. And then you wake up at the end of your life and you had a great life, because every single day you have a great day.
It is so important. Now, you spend so many hours to serve other people. You've been on ABC, you've been on the show, My Diet is Better Than Yours. You sit on the advisory board of Shape magazine, and you consult for many celebrities in People magazine. So you see all kind of people that invest in themselves and people who don't invest in themselves. What is the number one thing that you see that even celebrities that have time, that have funds, or they don't do? What is the problem? Why can't we just be consistent and create a lifestyle for ourselves? Why don't we do it? Where do we go wrong in this process?
Okay. It's an excellent question, and probably why you host Huddle Time, because it's a great question. There really is one thing, and I get a lot of eye rolls when I say this, and I say it with the most scientific and sincere attitude I can possibly give you. The number one reason why people fail is that they're not having fun. They're not enjoying the process. They're fighting it. They're trying to white knuckle their way through eating healthy. They're trying to do it so perfect and they burn out. They're trying to grocery shop and meal prep for hours at a time and have all their lunches all ready and perfect, and they can't keep it up. It's no fun. So our motivation system, our natural intrinsic motivation system, can turn on if you like what you do. And here's a perfect example. Just think about it. If you have something to do and you do it and you don't like it, it's very try and keep doing it, right? You just don't like it. So you force yourself, you can push yourself, but it's not fast because you don't like it. If some that wasn't so bad, you're going to naturally on your motivation system. And so you're going to be more likely to repeat it, which is an example would be jump rope. So rule of thumb is you need 10 minutes just goofing around with your jump rope. It's great. And so if you say, oh my gosh, you know what? That was fun. I can do that again. That wasn't so hard. That wasn't so bad. Boom. The next day you're going to do it. if what you decide to do is to try and do exercise that you hate and do it for an hour and sweat and fall behind in the class and you're miserable about it, chances are you're not going to do it the next day.
Right.
And so food is the same thing. Is if you're overzealous with your meal prep and craziness, you're not going to keep it up. So it's like add a little fun. You don't have to do it perfectly. Just do it better than you are right now. And slowly, if you just keep trying to make these little improvements, you naturally in a year's time, in 6 months time, in 2 months time, you're a different eater because you've made these incremental changes.
What are the big 5 must do for all of us, so it will be easy for us to develop a lifestyle of healthy brain and healthy body?
I mean, the idea of even just one thing, like if there was one thing that you could do, honestly, the first most important thing would be to add vegetable to everything that you can. Even though that seems kind of simplistic, it is actually a huge change in what most people say. Most people will say, oh, here's what you need to cut out. You should cut out this, cut out this, cut out this, cut out this. Instead of worrying about what to cut out, if you worry about what to add, it will start nudging out other things. So if your goal is like, I want every snack that I have to have some kind of vegetable there, even if it's a half of a piece of celery, I want every breakfast to have something fresh on there, whether it is just you shove a piece of broccoli in your mouth alongside of your oatmeal, who cares? Like, you can get fancier as time goes on. But the reason is it's the food group that actually will help your longevity. It will help your energy. It will help your aging. It will help everything. There's magic in vegetables. That's why they're all the colors. All those colors reflect how good they are for us. They're phytonutrients that protect us. And so that's like the first most important thing, is start edging out all the other junk by eating more vegetables. Then I would say something that's pretty underrated, but it's huge, is drinking enough fluid, drinking water, staying hydrated. It's something that people, I think, push off as like not that important and who cares, and like I'll drink water when I get to it. What's the big deal? But I've worked with world-class pro athletes. And one of the first things that we do to perform, in order to perform at your highest level, you have to be well hydrated. Yes, you have to be well hydrated. That is, eating all those vegetables is getting some nutrition in there, but also you have to stay, well hydrated. And then you can't forget that this is, so that's, some food, nutrition stuff, but also this is a holistic process. Like you can't expect yourself to
become an expert overnight.
And you can't expect to do it perfectly. You can't also expect to be motivated if you're tired. So I have to say that there are so many people who act like it's a badge of honor of like, oh, I only sleep 4 hours a day, or like I work 12 hours a day or whatever. I would say third step is take the badge of, and like get sleep and don't make your schedule like a jerk. You know what I mean? Like take care, right? Like that's a huge thing because it will make everything else easier. Because then once you, oh, God.
Go ahead. No, DJ, you go.
Once you have enough sleep, you're going to have the energy. Next step is you got to exercise, right? So you're eating more vegetables. Great. You're drinking more water. Fabulous. Now you're getting enough sleep. So you want to exercise. Do a little bit of exercise often. Don't worry about doing a ton at once. Like do a little bit often and you'll be good to go. And then you think about the last step is add joy. You have to add joy. And that could be a crossword puzzle. That could be good music. That could be laying on the floor with your favorite blanket. I don't care what it is, but there has to be not just waiting for a vacation to have joy. Like you have to find what are your daily joys and what's the normal stuff that you can find joy in? Like, is it that cup of coffee that you could be drinking a little more relaxed, or whatever.
I like that. Those 5, those are really important 5. And you were saying before that you hit the burnout zone. You literally hit the burnout zone. And I'm looking at all my friends and all my colleagues who has been working their asses off, and they're, in these times. But literally, we always work so hard. Even before COVID, that has not changed. If anything, I feel like now we work even harder. How do we stop it? How do we become more conscious of joy? How do we relearn about eating, relearn about, having joy and having love in your life? How do we do that? Because I find that that's very difficult.
Oh yeah, it's very difficult, and it's not valued in our society. What's valued in our society is how hard do you work, how much are burned out. Like, oh, I'm burned out more than you. Like, people are like crazy, like well, so there's so many reasons why I hit rock bottom when I hit rock bottom, but like one of them was I noticed a girl that I know, a woman that I know, rushed in with like 17 bags, and she was like running in, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I think I look like that. I carry all my possessions with me. I jump from meeting to meeting just to prove that I'm the busiest and the best one in the room. And so I think, the first step is to realize this is a sickness. This is not good, even though we've been learning it, right? This is a dis-ease of workaholic is just as bad as being addicted to drugs or alcohol or shopping, because it's interfering with the quality of your life. So maybe it's not, causing you to have, as many problems, but it is causing you problems, right? So anyways, first acknowledging that it is a problem. You got to name it to tame it. This is a problem.
Absolutely.
Second, name it to tame it. Second thing really that helped me, and I think it's incredible, it's called a joy journal, where you just open up any kind of journal you have, a piece of paper will do, whatever. At what point in the day have a glimmer of joy? And the first week, 7 days that I tried to do this, I could find nothing. I was so burned out. There was literally, I could find, looking hard, doing a joy journal, I found 0 things that brought me joy, 0. And then my coach, my business coach that I was working with, my business coach really believes, which I enjoy, is she believes that you are only your business is only as good as you are, right? So if you are happy and healthy, you will always have a happy and healthy business. You are number one. Once you do what you want, your business will have that too. So that's why my coach is technically like a life coach, because she works on me. And it's true. When I'm better, my business is better. So this joy journal, though, listen, girl, it could be any little thing, like, start looking at like your cup of coffee. So like, I was like, I do actually enjoy this. I drink like mushroom coffee, but whatever. So I was like, I do enjoy this. So I wrote that down. I heard a good song on the radio. I was like, oh my gosh, this brings me joy. I wrote that down. I was upgraded on a flight one time. I was like, this brings me joy, and so like all of a sudden when you start looking for it, and it might take some time, right? You start looking, oh my gosh, everything starts, once you're in the habit of trying to figure it out and find it, it pops up everywhere. Everything is joyful if you make it,
I love that. I love that. That reminds me, Dr. Barbara Fredrickson of, South Carolina, positive, philosopher. She says, in order to achieve a happier life, just like what you're saying, a happier life, happier every day, if you can do 3 things of joy, 3 things that makes you happy, compared to 1 thing that doesn't make you happy, you will have a happier life. If you can do this every day, and you, like you said, you journal about it, and you measure it, you will really think about happier life and be happier. So I think that's really very important. I love that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I used to not talk about this publicly. I used to be very embarrassed about this, because it seems very fluffy to me. I'm a very outcomes oriented person, top of my class, achieving Good Morning America and books and reality show wins, and head dietitian for the Chicago Cubs with an actual World Series ring. Like, I love achieving. And so I thought if I started talking about joy like this, that people would think that I wasn't serious about success, right? I wasn't results oriented. But the thing is that there is a science of fun. There is a science of joy, that this isn't made up, that when you are in the element of joy and fun, you become more creative. So I get better. I get so much better results because I have way more creativity. When I'm in joy and fun, I'm more energetic. So guess what? I can even outwork myself, right? Like, and I still like it, and I'm not burned out. When I'm in that, I'm more bold and daring because I'm like in a joyful, lighthearted thing. So I'm going to do cold calls that I might not have done because I'm feeling good. Absolutely. And I'll send that email that I've been scared to send because I'm feeling good. So confidence raises, creativity raises, energy raises, all because of this stinking thing called joy and fun. And so I started saying this. I started saying joy is a nutrient. that it's something that you actually need, just like you need vitamin C and vitamin D and iron and all the minerals. Joy is a nutrient.
Yeah. Again, I think for everybody who's on this live show and listening, they all get very inspired. I see a lot of great comments. And yes, this is all really, really important. But again, here we are. We all go into it, and we all go and we get so inspired. Let's jump up. Let's do all of those things. But then again, we fall back into the same crap that we do before. Okay, so I want to propose something. I want to propose to everybody. I want to propose you guys to think like this, right? We all are here having challenges right now, and the challenge is like, how can we elevate? How can we bring all our clients back to our chairs? How can we build productivity? How can we become more profitable financially? How we can have more confidence? How we can feel better? But I want to offer you to think a little bit differently. What if you think about it, what if you reverse your thinking? And DJ, I know you're with me on that. What if you reverse your thinking and you start completely different and start in the creative zone? And in order to start in a creative zone, you start investing in eating right. And you only apply 5 things to eating right and to have fun, right? It's like, don't buy crap at all. Buy as much as vegetable as you can. Have it in the refrigerator, right? And have fun cooking it. Like, enjoy actually doing it. And if you don't, by the way, a really good tip sheet is I buy meal plans, right? I subscribe to organic, unprocessed, all in great meals, which helps me with lunches, so I don't cheat. And that's what I do. And so what I want to propose to everybody.
I hate that word. You just said the worst word in the world.
What did I say? What did I say? What?
Cheat. Oh, cheat. Cheat is a bad word, because that means that you're on some sort of diet that you would cheat on, right?
I get it.
It's like, so no more of that word. It's, I'm an adult woman. I can have anything I want whenever I want, and I'm choosing everything. I'm choosing it all.
No rules.
Yeah.
No rules. I'm with you, DJ. I'm with you. Okay, so cheat, okay? But here we go. It's like, if you guys can just do that and do that for 14 days and observe how creative you become, how happier you become, how your mind start thinking within, I want my chair to be 85% productive, not 60, not 50, 85% productive. Can we all do that? Can we all commit to that? What are you guys saying?
I can tell you something real neat. There's even, so you take that and you break it up into something that I do with all of my clients. It's called a 7-day challenge. And a 7-day challenge is, you pick one thing, not a million. You pick one thing and you focus on it for 7 days, like you are just a track mind.
A ninja.
That one thing could be, yes, you're a ninja with that one thing. And that one thing could be, I'm committed to drinking 8 glasses of water this week, every single day. Or it could be, I'm committed to jumping rope for 1 minute every single day. Or I'm committed to having a vegetables for a snack every single day this week. Or whatever. It's one small thing. I'm committed to turning off my phone and bed. I'm committed to getting a full 8 hours every day this week. You do not have to keep it up. It's only for 7 days. It's a test to see, do you feel better? And if you feel better doing it, you're going to naturally keep doing it. So a 7-day challenge of one simple thing, it changes everything.
I love it. So one thing for 7 days, focus on that, and then pick up one more thing in the next 7 days. I love it. It's so brilliant. Of course, we can all commit to something like this. And, and then when you were speaking about committing to something, you're actually committing to joy. So why not maybe have like a big paper everywhere, in the salon, in your bathrooms, when you wake up in the morning, with just the word joy? The more your brain sees the word joy, the more it's going to look for joy nonstop.
I love that. That is great. Actually, one of the things I have on my phone is a random that pops up text messages to me. That's things like, are you having fun? So it's a check mark of me in the middle of, I'm like on deadline and freaking out, and people are calling to be redone and work on the IT and all this stuff. oh, this will pop up. Are you having fun? I'm like, oh, I better flip the script or change it up. Or I have a message on there that says you would be more successful if you added more fun. So if I'm in the middle of working on a project, I'll be like, oh my gosh, this isn't fun. I got to figure out how to add fun to this. And so, I think your idea of adding the joy prompts is huge, because it really does remind you in the middle of a hectic day that you are trying to prioritize something like joy.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's good. So now I would love to have you come back and even go deeper into your books. I know you said you're drinking mushroom. I'm all about chaga and turkey and all of that. Yes. And I'm even deeper into juicing. I mean, for everybody who you wouldn't believe it, but a lot of stylists have plantar fascia type of a
plantar fasciitis.
Thank you, plantar fasciitis, and I had it for like the longest time, and I just thought to myself, how do I cure it? What do I do to cure it? And then what I did is I completely went on 7 days of just juicing. 7 days of juicing. I had, and I did eat salads for sure. Like I love the crunch of the salads. So I did evening salads and the rest of the day, 7 days of juicing. And can I tell you, I have never had that problem ever again. Just went away. All of it went away. And
it's awesome. I love that you tested. I love that you tested, and it's primarily vegetable your life.
You were frozen for a sec. You were officially frozen, DJ.
I was. I will say I'm hardwired to the internet. Look at that. That's a real pro move right there. I'm hardwired.
Wow. You never know. I'm hardwired, period.com. So
yeah, I know you are.
So I would love if we dig more into health. But until then, tell me about swap. How you had your first baby. Okay, you had your first baby. You talk about being flexitarian, which I love. And then we jump into swap. Superfood.
Yep. And that literally is just the tagline of that book, and the true heartbeat of the book is eat what you crave, but just make it with better for you ingredients. So you want pizza, go eat pizza, tacos, burgers, whatever, but just make it with good for you stuff. And you can still have all of that. So it's like, people are like, I can't believe eat pizza and tacos and burgers. Well, I'm making, beet burgers or kale burgers, or, I'm doing pizza chopped up as croutons in a salad. So it's like, you can get very creative with how you can always eat what you crave, but just making it with better for you ingredients. It really shouldn't be a diet jail. When you're trying to eat well, people try and put themselves into a diet jail of being so perfect. And they eat like, steamed broccoli, wild salmon, brown rice, and they try and be a robot, and they don't know why they can't keep doing it. It's because it's miserable. It's fun for maybe the first 3 times. Yes, it gets boring. And, the thing is it is maybe good the first couple, but it does get boring. So you have to have, sort of this routine of like, I'm going to try one new quick meal each week, so that at the end of the year, I'll have 50 new meals in my repertoire. Or for a couple of weeks, I'll do a meal plan so that I can get ideas from them about what I could be making, So it's just, the superfood swap is all about trying to have fun.
Okay, so I got to figure out what did you have in the pancakes that you did this morning? Or was it yesterday morning?
Okay, you're talking about my swaffles, I think. You're talking about my swaffle, and
that's it. What is potato?
Because this is the thing, is I got myself a waffle maker because of a gig that I was doing. I needed to figure out how to make a waffle. So I was like, so I started playing this waffle maker. I was like, with my husband, I was like, I wonder what would happen if you grate a raw sweet potato, you mix it with egg, and you put 2 ingredients together and put it in that waffle maker. What would happen? A miracle happened. It's delicious. So it's a sweet potato waffle, and I call it a swaffle. And it's just those 2 ingredients, raw sweet potato, and egg, and the waffle maker cooks it, and it makes it look just like a freaking waffle. Like, what? So like sometimes I have these miracles that happen in the kitchen, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Okay,
And so we eat that now instead of toast. Like you can have it as like, for avocado toast in the morning, you can use the swaffle as the base with avocados and like watercress or spinach and an egg, or, have it even like chopped up in a lunch bowl, or, even as like a pizza base or like a tostada base. Oh my God, so delicious.
Okay, so so now that I'm hungry, thank you very much. How can we learn from you cooking? Do you provide any of those cooking lessons, or just talk to me? What can I'm so thirsty, I'm so hungry, I just want to come and hang with you. Where do I come and hang with you? How do I learn from you?
Okay. The one place that is the easiest to hang with me is really my website. So djblatner.com is where I put all of my goodies. I put a lot of stuff up there. And if you are an Instagram person, from my website, you can get onto my Instagram. That's where I hang out too. So I hang out either on my website, or once you go to djblatner.com, you can also click into my Instagram, which is also DJ Blatner. And that's where I post all this stuff. And it's all just about inspiration and testing. So it's not like, you have to follow any plan or anything. It's just like, hey, if you like the sound of the swaffle, I'll give you ideas in the little, notes section, and just play with the swaffle, and maybe it'll change your life. Just test and have fun.
So if you want to get some really good recipes, it's in the swap book, guys. So everybody should probably get it. I have ordered it. Unfortunately, Amazon is taking forever to get to my place, but I've ordered it and I can't wait. I think this will be really fun to cook with your husband, to learn something together, to do something as a couple. I think that would be really great. Not only just, doing the normal things, but learn together to do something different, right? That's joy.
Oh, you know what? I think that is absolutely. I mean, so yeah, my hubs and I forever we eat the same thing now, but we used to be totally different eaters. But when you start like making food together, you start, your sort of mood meshes, and you start getting to be like, it's not one against the other. Like, I'm trying to eat healthy, I don't care about that. No, you start, doing it together.
Literally, you are what you eat, and how you show up every day to life, anywhere you go, is how you show up to everything that you do. So if you want to show up with high energy, good vibe, energy is all around us. So if we can vibe together, we can tribe together, right? It's like the new thing. And what if we can just eat well and feel good, like you said, then we can get back into our creative self. So I think today was brilliant. Great tips, DJ. I love you. I love you. I love your energy. I love all those great ideas. I just didn't dig the greens next to the do those, waffles, swaffles.
That's funny. Yeah, I eat breakfast salads a lot. I like salad at breakfast even. Also, you know what? You get me back one time, Roni, and I'll make you the easiest green juice ever right from your blender. We can do that.
I would love that. So let's do another show, and maybe we can cook with everybody here. Right, like we can do a great smoothies, easy and swaffling, and but really, let's get that book and find out how to Lorraine. So all the recipes are in the swap book. That's the cookbook. Yeah, you're officially frozen again. I'm hardwired.
Me? I'm frozen. I think I was just smiling. I probably wasn't like legit frozen. I was just like that.
All right,
frozen. All right.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming today. This was so amazing, so much education. What I love about it the most is that it's simple. It's not that hard. We can all do this, and we don't need to be so hard on ourselves. We don't have to go keto, paleo, extremes. We can just really be flexitarians.
I just love that. Yep. And so, leaving you with djblatner.com, go to my website, and your action item of assign yourself a 7-day challenge to do one thing, test it out for yourself. If you get better, you'll keep doing it now.
Yes. And don't forget, if we can just put joys everywhere.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There's Sammy right behind me. That's my joy. But you guys, see you later. Have a great, great night. DJ, don't leave. I'm just going to end up the broadcast and hang with me. Hold on. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next Monday with some more great tips. Talk to you later.